I'm muted. All right, you guys, it's 7 o'clock. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And I actually want to start this call with our pack motto. And I want you guys to really listen to the words. We actually wrote this about a year ago and we kind of revamped it a little bit and added in some things. But I really want you guys to like focus on the words and like really embody who we are as a team and like what we stand for. We don't talk, I know I get to share it every Tuesday night on the new distributor training and you guys see it when you log into the team page, but like I just want to like read it out loud and let you guys know how proud I am of you before we even start this, and just like the lives that we're changing and the people that we're becoming and the people that we're helping, like all of the things. Okay, so you guys, welcome to Thursday Night Pack Call. We are the Pack, a group of individuals who work in our strengths to uplift, inspire, and help others. We are problem solvers and look for the good in situations. We are coachable, consistent, and stay connected. We are strong. We choose to grow through what we go through and use our trials to learn and strengthen us. The strength of our pack is in each wolf, and the strength of each wolf is in the pack. Together, we run far and fast. Hashtag run with the pack. I absolutely love that. And I'm just so grateful to be a part of this business with you guys and to be connected and to just create change across the whole entire world. I know that sounds crazy, but it's so true. I'm so fired up right now. So let's go ahead and let's start with some shout outs. If you guys want to unmute or drop them in the chat, let's hear them. Not all at once though, okay?
Hi, this is Tammy. I just want to shout out my new DT. He signed his first customer, and I didn't even get a chance to train him yet, like at all. Like we just literally got on our first training call today, so I'm just super proud of him. He's not on, but I'm excited.
That's amazing.
I want to shout out Emily because she kind of took a little bit of a sabbatical and decided to respond to some of my text messages, do a one-on-one Zoom with me, and we found a schedule that works for her, and she showed up to the team call.
Yay, Emily.
I want to shout out Tammy. She signed her DT and she's been asking questions about how to train. So I'm really happy for you, Tammy. Congratulations. I want to shout out my whole entire team for pushing this week. We've been setting a goal at 500 as a group volume, and we've been doing really good about it. So I'm excited.
Love it.
I want to shout out my whole team, especially for all the runners that I have in there. Raina, Candace, and Mary for signing her customers today, and she has a lot more coming. And we have a goal for this month, and we are definitely going to hit it. That's all I have to say. And I just want to thank all of my upline, because if it wasn't for their support, I would definitely not be where I am today.
Thanks, Caitlin.
I want to shout out a few people that they've had a couple dry months, but they've kept pushing and they kept showing up. So Brandy, Samara, Christina F, she signs distributors all the time, but she's signing customers. And I'm just so proud of them because they consistently show up even through those dry times. And then Tammy Lindbergh is on fire, you guys. She's got like 6 or 7 new distributors under her, and they all have at least 5 customers. And like, she is just killing it. So proud of you. So proud of you. All of you.
I want to shout out to my upline, Kayla and Amanda, for being so rockingly awesome and dealing with all of my, what I feel are insane questions sometimes. And I want to shout out to my daughter who joined and signed her first customer. I am so super proud of her, and we are going to go a long way with this. Thank you so much, everyone.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else?
I want to shout out all my downline because they have been rocking it and kicking butt this week and just doing amazing. And little Stacy is on here somewhere. I saw her come in and she is trying to revamp her business this week.
You guys, there's something about like feeling like revamping your business. Like sometimes just changing like your profile picture or your bio. I saw Larissa changed hers today, but just like changing that profile picture, changing that bio, those featured photos, and just being like, I am a business owner. And for those of you who didn't know, I got to do a live with Tanya Liza today, and just kind of share my story and growth with network marketing, and then how I've implemented the funnel. And she actually gifted me her course. And I am so excited to take everything that I'm learning there and to give it to you guys. And, you know, as I see the same leaders each week unmute, or, you know, new leaders are stepping up and unmuting, and I'm like scrolling through the pages to see who's on, wondering who's going to unmute next, who's feeling like they're rocking in their business, or maybe who feels like they're at a standstill or kind of has some Baba energy, right? You guys, you get to pick how you feel. You get to pick how your business goes. And if you're not excited about it, then how are other people going to be excited about it? Like your energy is going to attract your tribe. And I had this thought. I was having a conversation with one of you guys this week, and, you know, asking like, who would you join with? Like, you guys know each other. Like some of you guys are very close sideline sisters. And how do you guys know each other? Because you hop on each other's calls, because you get on power hours. So like, if you guys don't know me, please hop on one of my power hours so I can get to know you a little bit more. Like I would love to do one-on-one calls with everybody in my downline, but that would literally, I would be on calls all day long, right? So can you guys like get to know me if you don't know me by hopping on a power hour, by unmuting, by asking questions? If you want to get to know one of these sideline sisters, hop on one of their calls and get to know them. But I had this conversation and I said, you know, go through and look at a couple people who are successful, go look through their profiles. And I said, whose team would you join and why? And she went through some of you guys' profiles and she told me who she would join. And I said, why? And she told me the reasons why. And I said, then I want you to go copy that person. I want you to go and duplicate what they're doing, because what they're doing is successful. What they are doing is working. And so as you guys see leaders on here, and maybe you have that Baba energy right now, and you're just like, my business isn't moving. Can you go and copy someone who is successful? We're going to have Kelsey Thorton on here in just a few minutes. You know, can you go follow her if you love her energy and you love what she's doing? And can you go copy what she's doing so that way you can be that leader? Because you guys, I didn't get to where I am. And I just think to myself, like 2 years ago, I didn't even know a millionaire. Like, do you guys know a millionaire? Like, can you honestly say that you know a millionaire who would invest time, energy, and value into you? I couldn't say that 2 years ago. And how did I get to this point right now in my business? Because I invested in them. I copied what she did. I followed her. I watched her videos. I tried to mimic it. And so now I'm in this position where now I can inspire others because I copied the right cat for a long time. And so I really want to encourage you guys to do that. Every single person on this call watching the recording can absolutely be successful in this business. You just have to grasp, and it's weird. You got to grasp the idea that you are your own business owner. Okay. So like I said, if that means changing your profile picture, if that means changing your featured photos, that background photo, now don't change it to green, black, and bling. Don't change it to It Works. Okay. Because you are your own business owner. And so you are going to start selling yourself. And when you understand that, and then you start to provide value, different doors are going to open, and you're going to be even more excited about your business. Because if I just am posting about It Works products and It Works business all day long, then I'm not as excited. I'm not as jazzed. But if I'm posting about what it's doing for me and different opportunities and doors that it's opening and results that I'm getting, or my customers are getting, or that my teammates are getting, and I'm able to hop on a live and rap live with a bunch of friends that live in different states, or I'm able to take a picture of being on a mindset call or being on a power hour that we're working together. Maybe we do a funny dance, or, you know, on a power hour, we're doing a plank hold, you know, whatever it is. Like, that's what's going to attract people to you. So I'm just going to encourage you that if you're not feeling excited about your business, I want you guys to get plugged in to the places that we are excited about it, because that's ultimately what's going to create the change in your business. Okay. So I'm really, really excited to be able to give you guys that content. And I know some of you guys are ready for like freebies and funnels and stuff like that, but I also know that some of you guys aren't yet. And so after I go through this course, I'm going to just be helping to take the important pieces and things that are from it and help you guys provide more value. So I'm really, really excited. And I'm so grateful for each of you guys. You guys are rocking it. Volume is higher than it's ever been. We are literally on track for 100,000 volume by the 30th. And, you know, we've got to bring in 3,333 volume every single day. And this morning we were just over 2,000 shy of being right there with the recurring orders and stuff. And you guys are rocking it. And so I'm here to help. Your uplines are here to help. Your sidelines are here to help. Like, keep pushing, because this is boom season. I mean, people are getting their stimulus checks right now. So if you have not yet done your follow-ups, like, people are ready to purchase. When I was scrolling my Facebook today, all these people are saying all the things that they're buying, they're paying off their credit cards, they're doing all these things. So do not sit on the time right now. Get your energy right, and then take ownership of your business, and you're going to see things just totally explode. So I see Kelsey on right now. So excited for this. I got my notebook, my pen. Merlane, you are in charge. So I'm going to leave it up to you, and we'll go ahead and get started.
Are you able to spotlight Kelsey? Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Merlane Bashad. Thank you, Kelsey, for hopping on with us tonight. We are so excited to have you on. As soon as Tamika said Merlane, I got nervous. But anyway, so Kelsey, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and get started with you. Just basically tell us your story. You want to go ahead and start with your story before it works to now, and just, tell us all the things about you and your thank you, Kelly. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for having me on. I always tell people it's like our teams are like our babies, and we don't let everybody hold them. And so I always just appreciate being asked to be on, because there's a certain level of trust that exists there. And so I appreciate you guys for having me on, and I feel honored to pour into you guys tonight. So I got started in this business in April. It'll be 6 years, which makes me feel like I'm a grandma in the business, but it's fine. And I honestly just wanted an extra $500. And I think that a lot of us say that because that gives us less opportunity to fail. But the reality is that on the back of my head, I thought, well, what if it was more than that? But $500 was the minimum, right? At the time, my belief was like $500 belief, And so I hopped in, literally not knowing anything about anything. Like, I had like probably one follower on Instagram, and didn't know anything about social media. I would say I was like taking pictures of walls. Like, I don't know what was happening. I had a couple pictures of my baby. And it didn't really get better when I joined, like, I learned a couple of things, but I always tell people there's some authenticity in sucking at first, right? Like when you get started, I see a lot of people just get started and go from not posting and going from sharing content all the time to being like professional posters and like copying and pasting stuff, right? And it's like, your audience knows that like you didn't write that. And so one thing, and I'm not saying sometimes I didn't copy and paste, because I definitely did. And there were times that like I enrolled with Erin Tweed, but there were times she like messaged me and she was like, hey, just don't forget to change the phone number on that post. Like, I would post like, forget to change the phone number, you guys. Like, I was a hot mess. Okay. But she was so patient with me. And I think that like, it was never coming from a place of like, what are you doing? It was coming from a place of like, hey, just it's okay. Don't take yourself too seriously. And that's one of the things that I've never done in the business, is taken myself too seriously. And when I've done that, I've gotten myself into trouble. I started overthinking. I started thinking that I was more important than I was. But like, I honestly feel like that's why a lot of people can connect and relate with me, is just because I don't take myself too seriously. I can get on here and talk about all the mistakes I made and realize that like, you don't have to be perfect to build to ambassador. Like, you really don't. Like, there is no perfect distributor. There's no perfect person. And the more you try to hold yourself to that standard, the more disappointed you're going to be. Right. So when I got started, again, I didn't know anything about anything. I really wish that like some of you guys could see like my time hop or whatever, the memories that pop up on Facebook, because like they're so horrible. But I still found a way to be successful. And it was just like what Tamika was saying when I first hopped on. It was about my energy. There's a quote that I actually heard. My husband was watching something on ESPN, and one of the coaches was saying, nothing great has ever been done without enthusiasm.
Mm.
And the reality of that is so true, because you don't have to know everything about the products. You don't have to know everything about the business, but what you do have to have is energy, because that's contagious and that's transferable, right? Your energy is something that's going to set you apart from every other distributor that's been in the business, right? It's not like I can get on here and talk like I'm a computer and you guys are going to be inspired, even if the words are the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's my energy that brings it. It's the passion that brings it, right? It's the excitement that I still feel every single time I tell my story.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we don't give enough credit to energy. We don't give enough credit to the passion part of it, because you don't have to know everything to be excited about it. I had never tried a product when I joined. And you know what I talked about? I'm so excited to try the hair, skin, and nails. Look at my friend's results. I never lied. I never said that I tried it. I just said, I'm so excited to try it. How many people do you think are like, dang, what are you excited about? How many people on your timeline right now are excited that aren't It Works distributors? I'm going to tell you it's less than 5. It's less than 5. Most people don't have anything to be excited about. And if they do have something to be excited about, it's stimulus checks that should be a wake-up call to let them know that if you get a stimulus check, your goal should, next time there's a stimulus check, to not get it. Because why would you be excited about anywhere between a $1,000 to $8,000 to $10,000, I don't know how much they are, check, when you can be making that every single month?
Amen. Like,
it doesn't make any sense, but people are so short-sighted. And even me, I was that way before I joined. And so I don't even know, you just have to cut me off because this is like the longest story ever, but here, just bear with me if you need to cut me off. So all those things, when I joined, didn't know anything. When I look at my memories, something came up the other day, and it was like, I pick stitched. You remember pick stitch, like where you put the two pictures together? I pick stitch a bottle of Fat Fighters, like a picture of the product and a picture of my baby's butt in the rolls, because my daughter was like 6 months old. And I was like, fat rolls are only cute on babies. Like, I thought it was so creative. Like, I remember at the time feeling like, that is so creative. Like, like now it's like the fact that like I would probably get reported because everybody's all up, they have their panties in a wad about, all that stuff. But like the reality is like, I thought it was funny because I didn't take myself too seriously. And so I think that like I just learned along the way, and learning how to give yourself grace and learning how to kind of fail forward and be like, that didn't work. I still do that. I probably changed my newbie system like 700 times. Cause I'm like, oh, that didn't work. That was bad. Right. And so when I got started, I went Ruby in 3 months, and earned $1,000 Ruby bonus that they had at the time. And I was set. Because like I said, it was $500. I didn't see beyond $500. And Erin called me and she said, hey, pull out your diamond chart. And I was like, bro, there's an emerald chart in between. Like, what are you talking about? And she's like, no, we're just gonna like skip emerald. Just like pull out your diamond chart. And I was like, okay. And I was like, but I don't have one. I don't have a printer. And she was like, pull out a bill and write on the back. And I was like, okay. So I drew my diamond chart. And I remember she was like, count. And at the time, Diamond was 24 distributors. And I counted and I had 12 distributors on my chart. And so I needed 12. And like, I had signed 12 in 3 months, and I didn't even sign them all. Like, I think 1 or 2 people had signed another person. And so I was like, how am I supposed to double that this month? And all this doubt came in. But to be honest, I didn't know any better at the time. She was like, you're just going to go diamond. And I was like, okay, I guess that's what I should do. And what I didn't realize was at the time, she was just calling me higher. She was just saying, I believe in you. And had she not done that, I would have never gone diamond. I would have capped out, because it took her believing in me to believe in myself. Right. And so I was just like, okay, You guys, that month, my volume went from 4,000 as a Ruby to 17,000 in 1 month. I went diamond on the 25th when auto ships ran. And I'm telling you this, not because I had a plan for how the heck that was going to happen, but because I just did it. Like, I didn't think about, like, I knew where the volume needed to go for like a game plan of like strategically, but I didn't say, okay, well, we're going to sign X number of orders and we need to do this. I just kept going. Like, I just did it. Like, I'm not saying that like it's as easy as making a decision, because I think that's kind of overrated. Like, oh, we'll just make a decision. Yeah, okay, well, you have to do the work behind the decision, right? And so I think that like I just was more so focused on like, I need to push for it because there's a $10,000 bonus, and why the hell wouldn't I? Why the hell wouldn't I? And so I did. And after diamond, so I went diamond, got a $10,000 bonus, and that's when my belief really just like started to multiply. That's really when I saw ambassador. Like, to be honest, that's when I was like, well, if I can go diamond, then like ambassador long-term is my goal. And even though it sounded crazy, and even though I had no idea how that was going to happen or who was going to be there, I just did it. Like, that it was my thing to do. And I tell people this all the time, because on my diamond chart, there's my husband left, and my presidential Taylor Flanders, or Taylor Kaufman now. She was a 400 box on my diamond chart. And here's the thing. So think about that. Out of 24 people, 2 are left. And I say this not to discourage you, like not to make you feel like, oh, that's sad. Like, oh, I'm going to sign all these people and they're all eventually going to quit. But I'm a big believer in everything, and every person that comes into your business is going to teach you something. It's going to help you have a realization. It's going to refine you in some way, good or bad, right? And so I always use this example, and if I apologize if you guys have already heard it, but I use this example of, it's kind of like, let's say you really want to go to LA, and you go and you're like, I'm going to rent this Volkswagen. Okay. And I want to drive cross country. I really want to see the Hollywood sign. I really want to go see the stars. Like, it's just your dream. Right. And you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to be nice enough to like ask my friends if they want to come. And so at first, like, they're all like, yeah, dude, like, I'm about to come with you, like, pick me up at this time. And you have like a bus full of people. And then like the day comes and you're knocking on the door and they're like, oh, like something came up, like, I can't come now. Oh, well, like, I didn't get a babysitter, so like, I can't come now. Does that mean you're not going? No, you're still going because you were just nice enough to invite them along. You were just nice enough to say, hey, I'm doing this. Do you want to come? Right. And then halfway through, you're probably going to lose some more people because something happened. They have to go home. Their mom got sick. Their kid got sick. They have to turn around and go home. They have to fly. Like, it's just detours after detours, and there's speed bumps, and you have to stop at a hotel, and you have to get gas, and you run out of gas. And like, all these things are going to happen. But the reality is road trip in the first place. And when you get there, you want to know the cool thing? She'll be posting pictures. She'll be taking all these pictures. And guess what? People are going to be like, hey, can I come? And you're going to be like, yeah, dude, here are the directions. Come on. There's plenty of room here. And so I think like whenever I think about or get discouraged because like some people quit, or some people are in it for a season that I thought would be in it for a long time, I realized that like my dream is still my dream. I didn't have that dream dependent on if X, Y, or Z person was in the business with me. And sometimes we can lose sight of that. Sometimes we can feel like, oh gosh, I feel so far away. Okay. And does that make your dream any less valuable? Does that make the reason why you started? Like, so what you didn't promote last month? Don't you still want to get to LA? Don't you still want to do it? Don't you still want to pay off your debt? The time is going to pass anyways. And so I think keeping that perspective has helped me, because there's been more times that I didn't hit my promotion than I did. And it all has led to who I am today. And who I am has led to what I've done. Right? It's not the other way around. It's not what I've done is a symbol of who I am. It's who I am is a symbol of what I've done. Right? Like, it starts here internally first before it can manifest externally. And if you get an income that doesn't match the internal part, you'll always lose it. It's always going to be temporary. And wouldn't you rather base something that you have a solid foundation on, and it take a little bit longer than for you to get something and then lose it? So anyways, a year later, 9 months later, we went double diamond. My husband and I, like, our accounts have promoted together the whole time up until then. And then we both went triple the next month, earning $100,000 in bonus, 50,000 each. And then it took me from triple to Prez was like, that was a big mental block for me. That was probably like the toughest span of where I had to grow the most in my business. And where I really had to learn the definition of a servant leader, because it sounds really cool, but the reality is a lot more work than you would think. And so I had to switch my mindset. I had to get a lot better at leadership than I was. I had to get a lot better at discipline than I was, and I still don't have it all figured out. But I grew so much in that season. And you guys, you know that I'm an ambassador now, but I'm going to tell you, in that moment, I didn't know. So 18 months without promoting and not knowing if it will ever happen, that will test your faith. That will test your faith. And here's what I want to tell you. People, you have probably seen the quote where it's like, faith and fear like can't coexist. And I'm like, that's such BS, because until you have fear, you don't need to activate your faith, right? Until you have that fear of like, I don't know if this is going to happen. I don't know why God's doing this, or I don't know why this is. You don't ever need to use your faith, because if everything's Gucci, then what do you need faith for? And so when things get tough, just know that behind the scenes, God is moving. Things are working. He's molding you. He's shaping you. He's refining you in the fire. But it's not fun. It sounds good. It sounds like church. It sounds like, oh, that's great. She's so inspiring. But like behind the scenes, I was like, this is some BS. I don't want to be in this season anymore. I'm so sick of this season. Like, I don't want to be here. And it was hard, right? It was hard. But realizing that, what was my alternative? I've been the girl who quits things before. I want to see what happens when I don't quit. And so 18 months later, went Prez. And then 6 months after that, went ambassador. And so once we did that, it was like I had to redream all over again. So now I'm working on my 2.0. And it takes time to develop that belief. You know, it takes time to develop that belief in yourself and like what's next. But, you know, I can say looking back that like it wasn't easy, but it was always worth it. It was always worth it. And I will always be grateful for this business, not because of the income, but because of the person that it shaped me to be. So, yeah, that was 29 minutes of my story.
So good. I was just saying like, oh my God, you're speaking to my soul. And I love everything that you're saying. Like, I want to go back to being excited. When I first joined, like I just given birth to my second baby and I didn't try the products. I didn't try any of the products. I was excited and I was still enrolling customers. Even now, just an example about the hair vitamins. I didn't even start taking the hair vitamins until now. I got my hair done. Everybody, oh my God, what are you taking? Well, I just started using the hair vitamins. I can't tell how many bottles I've sold for the past week just because I've been excited about, you know, the hair vitamins. So it is very important to stay excited. A lot of people will wait and say, well, I need to know everything. So I'm so grateful that you covered that. Like, you basically answered most of the questions. So most of the questions that I was gonna ask you. But I know
You can ask me them because I can probably come up with some other stuff, because I just feel like I just fly off the handle at all times.
No, it's fine. You're so good. So one of the things that we want to know, how long did it take you to enroll? Like, your enroller, how long did it take you to enroll with her? Did you have any objections? And then cover a little bit about duplication, because we always want to know about duplication, please.
Yeah, no, really good question. So honestly, I approached Erin, but I watched her for a year. And I think that we all have that moment where we're kind of like, what the heck am I doing with my life? You know, like I just had a moment where I was just kind of like, this adulting thing isn't what I signed up for. Like, this is not like, I want to go back to college, bro. Like, this is not like, why was I so excited to leave? Because I was just going through the motions, and I was good at my job and it was okay. It was easy, but I still felt like I wasn't fulfilled. And that is something that it was just that nudging, which I didn't know at the time was like God nudging me to do something different. But a year prior, if you would have asked me if I would have ever done something like that, I would have laughed in your face and I would have been like, no, only people with real jobs can't get that, to do that stuff, right? Like, I literally would like bash it because I didn't know anything, right? I wasn't educated in it. And so it took me a year of watching her do it and see her success for me to be like, well, if this girl is doing it and she seems like legit, like, why couldn't I do it? And it was almost just like a moment of, if I don't do this, I don't see anything changing, you know? And one thing I always tell a lot of my girls who have like an unsupportive spouse or somebody that just doesn't really understand is, what you should do is sit down and just ask your spouse, where do you want to be 5 years from now? Like, where do you want our family to be, our life to be? And if it's somewhere different than where you are now, where is the path to get there? And recognizing that and saying, like, I wasn't even unhappy with my life necessarily. It was fine, but it was fine. And I didn't want it to just be fine, right? And I recognized that it was like, okay, if it's fine now, what's going to make it better? What's going to increase it, right? Like, I was cool and I just said, like, you know, I understand everybody has to go through the motions, work their way up the ladder. But I walked into my job and I asked for a $5,000 raise and they said it just wasn't in the budget. And I was like, so you're telling me I did the best job that I could do. I got A+ on all my reviews, on all of the things, all of the feedback, and I'm not getting compensated for it, that you're just getting the benefit. And that I literally remember calling my husband and being like, this is such BS. Like, this is the last time I'm going to let somebody tell me what I'm worth based on what they can afford. Because that's leaving it outside of my control. And that is a very hopeless and helpless feeling, right? When your future is dependent upon somebody else. And so for me, that was the moment where I was like, I gotta do something else. And so I just remember like messaging Kyle, Erin's husband. I'd briefly known him from college. And I just remember being like, okay, how much money does your wife make? Like, totally rude question. Like, I don't know why I thought it was okay to ask that question. And I was like, so how much money does your wife make? And he's like, she makes about $8,000 to $10,000 at the time. Cause at the time Erin was a double diamond. And I was like, yeah, right. But even if she makes half of that, I can at least make 500. Right. And so that's how I started. I had like some reservations about the $99, but my husband was like, bro, you spend $99 at Target and you don't even know what you buy. So at least here you can make your money back. And then he just told me, he said, you know, if you're going to do this, I don't have a problem with it, but like, you need to actually do it. you know, because I've seen too many people start things like this and not actually do it, and then they look like idiots. And I'm like, yeah, true. And I don't want to look like an idiot. So I just, that's where I went all in, you know, because I just felt like, and she gave me the line back then. I don't know if people still use it, but people used to say like, give us a year and we'll change your life. And she told me that, and I was like, I'm not that patient. I'll give you 6 months. And I just remember like being like, but I'm not going to judge the 6 months based on what my paycheck is until the 6 months. Right? Because I knew that like, it takes time to build a business. You know, like if you're a hairdresser, you have to take time to build your clientele, right? If you're a lawyer, same thing, right? Like anything that you are building and that you're owning, you have to take time to build it up. And so I knew that. And so that's why I kind of went in with that attitude. But y'all, my first paycheck was $34, and y'all would have think that I won the lottery because I was pulling up to Starbucks, ordering me a venti. I was like, bro, like I just made money from my phone. What is life? Like it was so not normal to me. And I was just always grateful for those paychecks, and just realizing that like it was real and it paid me, and like it wasn't all for nothing. So those were kind of the things that I looked at before, and obviously what people would think of me, but I've never really cared what just anybody would think of me, but I did care about what people who I respected would think of me. And so that was something that I had to get over and really focus on educating instead of being defensive, right? And just helping people be educated on it and then let them make an informed decision rather than just making assumptions. So whenever people have like come at me and been like, oh, is this a pyramid scheme? I'm like, what would you define as a pyramid scheme? 99% of them can't answer that. They don't know the true definition. The true definition of a pyramid scheme is when there's no exchange of products, but people are making money off other people signing up, right? We make $0 off other people signing up. I could have 100 distributors join my team, and if there's no product exchanged, I make $0, right? And so this is not a pyramid scheme. Plus pyramid schemes are illegal. They were outlawed in the 90s in the US. And so I think that helping people understand that and saying like, number one, a pyramid structure is different than a pyramid scheme. Everything in corporate America has a pyramid structure. Like I worked at a bank. You have the CEO, you have the senior vice presidents, you have the vice presidents, you have the regional managers, you have the branch managers, you know, and then you have the tellers. And so everything is a pyramid like structure. Our business isn't even a pyramid structure, bro. So I don't know what these people are talking about. Like I could make more money than Erin. Erin makes more money than the person who enrolled her. So like there is nothing that even resembles a pyramid scheme in this business. And I think when people say, oh, only the people at the top make money, only the people at the top are willing to stick with it to make money. You can make that money too, but are you willing to stick with it? Right? And it's like, this is an equal opportunity employer. Like you want to do it, go ahead. Right? Black, white, Cuban, Asian, it doesn't matter. Nobody is judging you based on that. They're judging you on your results. And so what was the other question you asked me besides all that I don't even know where I started with that?
Duplication.
Okay. Duplication, you guys. Here's the thing. I've changed my system so many times, right? And the business has changed so many times. When I started, you couldn't even copy and paste stuff on Facebook. Like there was no copy button. I remember like I would be at work and I would have like half like of the Facebook screen, and then my email pulled up and like typing what somebody else had typed and emailing it to myself so that I could do it. Okay, like so that I could post something similar. So there wasn't even that, much less lives, much less stories, much less watch parties, much less any of that. And so if you don't adjust and if you don't pivot and if you don't change, you're gonna be left behind. And so I think that duplication is really a culture, right? And it takes patience, and it takes a level of recognizing that you can't put your expectations on somebody else's dream, right? You can't be like, oh, like we're going to go at the same pace in the same way with the same system for everybody who joins. That's just foolish. That's just foolish. And it's kind of like love languages, right? So my husband's love language is quality time, and my love language is physical touch. And when we first got married, I tried to love him with physical touch. And it's not that he didn't like it, he just wasn't filled like he needed to be. And the same thing with him. He was like wanting to spend all this time together. And I'm like, I'm good, dude. Like, I'm all like, why I need to like do my own stuff and hang out with the girls. But I didn't realize that that's what filled his gas tank, right? That's what filled his love tank. And so when I started speaking his language and recognizing that I was giving him what I thought that what I would want, the golden rule doesn't apply here, right? You can't treat others the way you want to be treated is a selfish way to look at things, right? Because just because I want Eric Thomas to yell at me in the face every single day for me to feel motivated doesn't mean that somebody else does, right? They might want some Joel Osteen. They might want somebody who has a different vibe. And so you have to recognize this person that I'm working with, what are they wanting, right? What are they needing? Not what do I want to give them, right? Just because I speak English doesn't mean the next person is going to speak English, right? They're speaking a different language. And so for me, duplication is honestly just a culture of, I don't like saying meeting people where they're at, but understanding where they're at, calling them higher and saying, here's where I see you. Here's my belief in you. And I'm always going to see you 3 steps ahead of where you are. And I'm not going to feel bad about that. And I'm not going to be disappointed when you don't show up as that, but I'm always going to believe in you here, even if you're here. Right. And I think that we sometimes have this pressure of like feeling like, well, they need to be here today and they need to be, but you weren't there. You don't realize how long it took you to get there. And so having that patience to repeat things and to go over things 17 times and to FaceTime them and to connect with them and realize that, yes, it's your duty to help them be as successful as possible. But that doesn't mean just in the business. When people are successful at life, they're more successful in the business. Like it correlates. This business is personal. And I think, Tamika, aren't you green? Are you green, red? Or what's your second color?
Green, red. So.
Okay. So Tamika is green, red. Now, green reds are the exception to this rule because they can compartmentalize everything, right? Like her business is totally separate than her family, but most women aren't green, red or red, green. Most women are yellow and they lead with their feelings and they can't compartmentalize. Like when their marriage is off, their business goes to crap, right? And here's the thing. That's okay. But you can't expect that if you don't know what's going on in their marriage, that you're going to be able to lead them effectively. Right? Because we have to talk about what's going on in your marriage for you to even hear what I'm saying about the business. And I think that when we can recognize this and when we can say, it's okay, my job is to make you a better human. And then you're going to have better results. And then you're going to run a better business. That is truly how you build leadership, right? Because you recognize that like what I'm seeing in you isn't going to go away next month or tomorrow or next week. Now, does this mean we hang on to people? No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean that we cling to people and we stop our business because other people aren't going at that pace. But it means that we're always building our business. And side note, there is a very big difference between building your business and working your business. There's been many times in my business where I was just working my business. I wasn't building it. And it's very easy to get into that mode where you're like, I'm just going through the motions and like, I'll do my 6 list and I'll do this. And you don't even take the time to evaluate your results. You know, I was just talking to my team about this and I was like, screw the 6 list if it's not working for you. If you go 30 days doing the 6 list and you're not getting the results, figure out what works for you, right? So for me right now, it's like guess what? I have influencer applications that I need to respond to. That's not on my 6 list. That's not on my 6 list. So that's getting me results. So if I look at last month, where did my distributors come from? Where did my customers come from? Why would I spend 30 minutes interacting with people if that's not where my customers came from? Why am I spending so much time, 45 minutes creating a post when I didn't sign one distributor from a freaking post? Does that mean I don't post? No, it just means I stop spending so much time there and start doing stories because that's where people are interacting with me. Or I start doing TikToks or Reels or whatever. But like, we don't take the ownership of our business to be like, oh, let me actually think like, what's working? Let me decide to do more of that. Be more married to the results than you are to the 6 list. Right? Don't let other people tell you what to do if that's not working. And guys, I'm not saying like, oh Lord, like, oh, it didn't work for the first 3 days. Okay, like, come on. But like, if you're doing it for 30 days and it's not working, go to your upline. Say like, hey, I feel like this isn't working. I feel like this isn't a great use of my time. What's working for you? Or how are a lot of people who are enrolling a lot, where are they enrolling from? You know, and just evaluate it. Take time to be a true business owner and take the ownership of what's working for you. And so I think duplication, in all honesty, is simply just doing the things, sharing how you're doing the things, and calling people higher, you know, and just saying like, hey, like whether you get here next week, next month, next year, I'm still going to see you here. And I'm not going to determine your timeline just because I have somewhere to go. If that's not your timeline, then guess what? I'm going to go find different people who have a similar timeline. I'm going to go find people who have a similar timeline. Because what I've learned is that if let's say you're a level like 7 person when it comes to like mindset and when it comes to how excited you are, like you're at a level 7. You're only going to recruit 3, 4, 5s, and 6s. You will never recruit an 8 if you're a 7. You have no value to add to them. They don't match your energy. People enroll with you because they're saying, I want what she has. So that's why I do self-development every day, is because I know that if I get better, I'm going to recruit better people. So hopefully that helps answer your question.
Yes, definitely. I'll ask one last question, and of course, I'm going to open it up if anybody else have any questions. I know your time is valuable. We don't want to keep you all night, but I could listen to you all night long. Oh my God, can anybody else relate to me? Like literally, you speaking to my yes. Samara says yes. Now I know, like I follow you. I've been following for the last, like since I've been in the business, I've like 5 years, like I've been following for a long time. Like you always seem so motivated. And now how would you, 2 questions. So what book that's changed your life, your business or your life? And then if you lost rank, how did you stay motivated and how did you feel about that?
Yeah, good question. So when it comes to like books or like podcasts or things that I listen to, it really depends on what season I'm in. So just like I evaluate my 6 list and just like I evaluate where my results come in, I have to evaluate what books I'm going to read. Because like I said, if my marriage is struggling, that's what book I'm going to read, right? If your marriage is struggling, there's a great book called Praying Circles Around Your Marriage. It's a great book. Now, if that's great and you just feel like I'm lacking like a perspective, right? I'm lacking like the energy that I need to be successful, then you're going to need something like 10x, right? You're going to need something that is going to kind of light that fire under you. And the compound effect is very good for that. Like there's so many different books for different seasons of where you are. And so you kind of have to evaluate, where am I and what do I need? One mistake I made is, like, I love leadership. It's like the thing that I'm probably the most passionate about. And all I wanted to do was read leadership books. Like, but I didn't want to pick up a book about where I was struggling. And so many of us will do the same thing. And we're like, okay, like I'm going to read a faith book when like your faith isn't struggling. You're good there. You need to read a leadership book, or, you know, vice versa. And so evaluating, what areas do you really want to get better in? And what areas are your strengths, where you can really use those strengths in order to make a difference with your team. Okay. And so there's so many books, but I would say the ones that have totally changed my perspective on just like the business and life. Number one is Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. That changed my life. The other one is Go for No. Go for No is like on YouTube. It's like 90 minutes, but it totally changed my perspective. I remember one time going to whine to Aaron about like, nobody wants this. Like nobody's responding to me. Everybody's saying no, right? Like, sorry for my voices. I do this all the time. But I just remember feeling that way. And she was like, I want you to go for 10 no's a day. And I was like, easy, no problem. I had to message freaking 150 people and I still didn't get 10 no's, because in my mind, the 2 or 3 or 4 no's that I was getting, I was focusing on way too much, right? And I wasn't focusing on the seeds that I was planting. I wasn't focusing on the people who I was like labeling as no, when it was just a not right now, when it was just like the seed that I planted. And in reality, guess what? The same day you plant the seed is not the same day the flower grows. It's just not. And it takes time and it takes trust. And that is where I love where the business is going now. The business is going to like so much video content, you guys. And like video content is king. And so if you're not doing stories, if you're not doing reels, if you're not doing things where people can hear your voice and see your face, then guess what? You're not maximizing your paycheck. And the reality is that it actually speeds up the process on every level. And it maximizes your time. I do not enjoy sitting in the corner writing a post. Okay? That's just not my strength. I don't. But I can sit on here and talk. And you know what? I can do that on my stories. And here's the thing. Do you know what that does? It builds trust way quicker than people seeing one post of you that one time a week where you're dressed up and have makeup on, and they see this snapshot of you that's not really real life. But we all want to have like pretty pictures and good Instagrams and attractive pages. And so like there's like this tug of war between like, I got to figure out how I can be authentic, but I still want to put my best foot forward. And stories and reels and TikToks allow you to do that, right? And I remember people saying to me like, oh, well, you got to like take time to build trust and build relationships with your following. I'm impatient. Okay. I'm very impatient. And like, I don't really want to just like small talk. Like that's not really what I'm interested in. And like, because that's fake. Like if I meet you in person, I'm not going to small talk you. I'm going to actually stare deep into your soul and be like, what's going on? What's the matter with you? But I can't do that over Instagram if I'm not in the same room with the person. And so right now, you guys, it's the fastest way we've ever done things, because listen, when you talk, why do you use Siri? Because it's faster, right? Than actually typing it. So it's going to be way faster when you do video content, and people trust you faster, because they see you as a hot mess with your hair looking like Einstein in the morning, making your coffee. And they're like, dang, she looks the same as I do in the morning. And she's not like all the things that are like, she's not always looking like her Instagram photos. She's not always like feeling like she has it all together. Like I was talking the other day, I literally made a story and I was making my coffee and I totally missed the cup and poured it all over myself. And I still posted it because I was like, people need to see that. Like people need to see that, like, you don't have to be perfect to do the business. You don't have to have a certain look. And the other day, I also told everybody the story about how I told my kids I was going to send them to boarding school if they didn't get their attitudes in line. And like, I know I was like, listen, moms, please don't shame me because I know you've done something similar. But like, I say that because I want people to know that like, yeah, my kids are cute and I like to post pictures of them, but like, behind the scenes, I need to feel like I'm giving them away 90% of the time because they have attitudes, you know, like I'm like yelling at them and I'm like, gosh, I have to say no all the time. Like, I want to be a fun mom, but like, I always can't be a fun mom because I have to. And so guess what? Life, that's life. And people can connect to that. And so I think that I don't even know. You asked me about motivation, but somehow I got here. But here's the deal with motivation is you have to realize that you can't be perfect. And you shouldn't be alarmed when you don't feel motivated. You should recognize that's normal. But what are you going to do about it? I read this book called Relentless. It was really good. It's definitely not a feel-good book, but it's written by the like Kobe Bryant's personal trainer. And one of the lines in there, he says, when you want the result so badly, the process becomes irrelevant. Right. And I think about that. Like when you think about like, why do we have kids? Like, first off, you get fat and you get swollen and you can't sleep and you get really uncomfortable and it is not fun. And then not to mention you have to birth a baby out of your vagina like an actual human. Like who wants to do that? Like, and then we do it again. And a lot of times people can't get pregnant. And guess what? They pay tens of thousands of dollars to get a treatment to help them get pregnant. Right? How many people do you know maybe that have PCOS that's the only reason they lost weight? To have a baby. Nothing else can motivate them. Because when you want the baby so bad, the process on how to get the baby becomes irrelevant. So my question is, what's your baby? What are you going to want so badly that the process of how you get there becomes so irrelevant? And so motivated or not, feeling good or not, wanting to do it or not, right? Like nobody wants to just like, oh, I'm just going to like send out all these messages. That's like the first thing I want to do on my list today. And I'm going to go like write up a post and then I'm going to like do some TikToks and like, yeah, like that's exactly what I want to do today. What are you talking about? No, what I want to do is eat a couple donuts, sit on my butt, watch some Grey's Anatomy and call it a day, you know, like just give me a day, right? But you have to live beyond your feelings because when you act on discipline, there's never regret. But when you act on feelings, you always regret it, right? How many times have you like spewed something out of your mouth and then regretted it, right? And you had thought to yourself, I don't know if I should say this. I'm not going to say it. 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 And then you say it and you're like, crap, I knew I shouldn't have said that, right? Don't we all have that tug of war in our mind when it comes to working the business? I know I need to host a post. I know I need to host a post. I know I need to host a post. I'll do it tomorrow. Then you regret not doing it. Right? And then you feel guilty. And in the 10X rule, he says, it takes the same amount of energy to convince yourself why you shouldn't do it as it does to just do it. And I was like, dang, that is so true. Because if you could just hear some of the conversations and negotiations I have in my head about whether it's working out or writing a post or doing host a post, you would be like, girl, just get over it and just do it. By the time this argument in your head is done, we could have been done already. Right. And so when I just started thinking about that, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. And so whenever I catch myself like negotiating, I'm just like, not today. I'm just not going to argue with myself today. And I'm just going to do what I know needs to get done. And I think that if you recognize that it's like normal to feel like you don't want to do it, it's normal to not feel motivated all the time. It's normal to not feel like even on your most motivated days that you still couldn't get everything done. That's normal, right? And if you know that it's normal, you don't have to stress about it so much. Like how many of you guys have like really acted crazy and been like so hormonal, and then you're like, oh, my period's about to start. I got it. And then you feel better about it because there's an explanation, right? There's an explanation. But when you don't, and you're like, dude, I don't know why I feel this way. I'm not about to start my period. I don't know why I'm so emotional. And then you start overthinking it, and then you start analyzing it, and then you spend all this energy. And it's like, it's normal to feel not motivated. Stop expecting yourself to feel motivated every day, and just remind yourself of what the heck you're working for. What's your baby?
So good. So good. I just want to open the floor really quickly. Thank you so much, Kelsey. This was so, so good. I don't know if Tamika or anybody has any question they want to ask. Kelsey, Tamika, do you have anything?
No, so good. Thank you so much, Kelsey. So, like, I literally have all of these one-liners like on 2 pages, like just so many incredible nuggets and just like chills and light bulbs that popped on. And I am so grateful for your time. So thank you for being here with us tonight.
Yes, you're so welcome. Thank you guys for having me. I can close this out in prayer if you want.
I would love that.
Okay. Dear Jesus, I thank you so much just for this leadership that you've connected on this team. We know that you don't make any mistakes, and it was all put together by divine appointment, that everybody that was here followed a prompt that you put inside of their soul. And we're so grateful for just those connections and those appointments. Lord, I just ask that you would just bless this team abundantly, not just financially, but also in character, because we don't want to be blessed beyond what our character can sustain. And so help us grow our character so that we can keep the blessings that you have for us. Lord, help us focus more on the internal than on the external rewards, and help us just to become more like you each and every day. And we know that when we do that, that you can trust us with any blessing that you have prepared for us. Lord, help people have the faith to consider it done. That even when it feels impossible, that's when you work your best. That even when it feels hard, even when it doesn't make sense, even when there's no plan for how the heck something could happen, that's when you go to work, because only you can get the glory. So I ask, Lord, that you just impart an extra dose of faith on these people, and that you bless them abundantly, and that you continue to allow their energy to swell and rise for you and for their purpose that you've placed on their heart and for this business. We love you so much. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Kelsey. Thank you.
You're so welcome. I love you guys. Bye.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Merlane, for setting that up. We are over time. So we are going to take takeaways into the pack page. I'm going to make a post. I'll post, Mandy took some photos of everyone. So we'll post those pictures in there. And I would really love it. You know, there was 54 people on here at one time. I would really love to see all of your takeaways. Like, what really stood out to you? What are you going to implement in the business? I think that call was exactly what we needed in this moment, for us to just know that we're here for a reason, and that we have value to give, and that it's our job to do the growth. And so I'm so blessed to have all of you guys on our team, part of our pack, and just part of this business. So thanks you guys for taking an hour out of your time, out of your night tonight. We have the book club call. It's in 30 minutes at 8:30 Mountain Standard Time, 9:30 Central Time. For those of you that would like to hop on with Carrie Ann, the number can be found in the Pat call sheet. And I just look forward to the next time we get together. So make sure you check out that list and see what calls are available and just get connected. Like I said at the very beginning of this call, make relationships with each other, show up, support each other, grow, work your businesses, find what works for you. And you guys, like, my last challenge for you is, if you are not, this is what she said. She said, why the heck wouldn't you? Every single one of you guys is eligible for a bonus this month. Okay, whether it's an emerald bonus, whether it's a diamond bonus, a double, a triple, why wouldn't you run after it? And so if you don't have that chart, some of you guys have your ruby chart, get your diamond. Some of you guys have your emerald chart, get your diamond. Some of you guys already are diamond, get that double, get that triple, because why wouldn't you go after it? And so, you know, God put you here for a reason. Run with it, be coachable, be consistent, stay connected. And we'll see you guys on the next call. Bye.